Maybe. Okay, maybe. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully, things are working now and you can see me and hear me. There we go, popping up on the screen. A little bit of a delay there. So let me know if you guys can see and or hear me. If you could just give me a little comment or something to let me know that things are working, that would be great. Hey, Jelly Duck, how are you this morning or today, I suppose? I guess it's 8:30 where I am, but still could be much earlier or much later depending on where you are. Awesome. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. All right. So, what I want to talk about today is a product, a service. Thanks, Jelly Duck. It's actually I'm using my Lumix G7, so that's why it's so sharp and crisp. But so what I want to talk about today is a product or service called Cubbit. Cubbit is kind of like the Amber X that I talked about a while back, kind of a self-hosted uh, online storage, network attached storage device, that sort of thing. I actually ran across them on Facebook months and months and months ago, and figured out how to get in touch with them, reached out, talked to them, and and eventually they decided that they would send me a unit to take a look at. It arrived a while back, and it's it's been interesting to say the very least. Let's actually jump over to my desktop and let's talk about Cubbit just a little bit as far as what they are, what they and that sort of thing. So right here we can see that they're a distributed, secure, encrypted cloud storage. And I guess all of that is as true as it could be based on what I've experienced. It says it's 100% private, secure, and green cloud storage solution. Sort of. We're going to talk about that too. They crowdsourced computing resources, or they crowdsourced computing resources via peer-to-peer network to build a distributed architecture, and that's all true as well, based on what I can tell. So if we scroll down a little bit, so basically the idea is this. Let's switch over to here. There we go. So this is the Cubbit device, and basically inside it's got basically a motherboard, a hard drive, that sort of thing, and basically when you connected this to their network, it then synchronizes with a bunch of other devices and then distributes your files across those different devices on their network to have redundancy. In fact, if we come over to there, sorry, this is so janky, but let's see if I can find, maybe it's on this page. Yeah, so Cubbit's a new cloud, one that's distributed, user-powered, and yours forever. These come in 512 gig as well as 1 terabyte versions. So you do have some options there as far as which unit you get. It's also got a USB port on it, so you can attach up to a 4 terabyte drive. They've actually limited it to 4 terabytes to just to have some sort of limitation on the amount of resources one person can use or share or whatever. They did decide to limit that to 4 terabytes of additional storage that you can plug in. This was set up and funded by Kickstarter and Indiegogo. They raised more than £1 million or euros. This says dollars, but I've seen their Kickstarter, their Indiegogo. It was much more than that. So if we scroll down here a little bit more, 0 monthly fees, which is kind of a cool idea. You pay for it once, and then the storage is just yours, and you then of course share resources with everybody else. And so let's actually, if you want to take a look at Cubbit, definitely do that. There should be a link in the description down below where you can do that. But what we want to do is actually jump over to here now that I think about it, and talk about what is Cubbit, what's new about it. So here it's a distributed peer-to-peer network. We've talked about that, cloud storage. And the network consists of dedicated dedicated device called Cubbit cells. That's this thing here that they sent me. That is a Cubbit cell. And this article is old. This was written in 2019. But basically, you access everything from this front-end application that then in the back end, your files are encrypted with 256-bit encryption, fragmented out into multiple fragments, and then copied and distributed across the network for redundancy. Makes a lot of sense. It's not blockchain. It's not. They're very adamant that it's not blockchain, and that's fine. But here it says, every chunk is then saved on somebody else's cell. The location of each chunk is established by an AI coordinator. That's kind of where I have an issue with this to start with, as far as that's concerned. They talk about how it's green, how it's solely reliant on the Cubbit cells, that sort of thing. But then out of nowhere, they bring in this AI coordinator, which are dedicated servers on their end that all of your devices, your device, and everyone else's devices have to talk to. And then the AI coordinator becomes, well, a coordinator, an orchestrator of putting the files out into the network as close to you as possible based on your location. So again, that all sounds fine. So when you access your remote files, you save it on Cubbit, you're asking the coordinator where your chunks are. So there's the issue that I have with this is they talk about their great technology and what they're doing and all of this stuff, but then it's like everything still has to run through their servers to coordinate the distribution and retrieval of all of your files. And that to me seems a little bit odd. If you're going to have this peer-to-peer encrypted thing that it's talking about here, why are they relying on their dedicated servers to run all of your traffic through? That really bothers me, that they're not using some sort of other, even in this case, a blockchain setup to have all of the coordination done via an encrypted service as well, or a distributed service as well, rather, in order to fully verify that we're not entirely reliant on their servers. Because it sounds to me like that all of the giving and taking and sharing of files all has to run through their server. And that seems counterintuitive if you're going to have a peer-to-peer network. Now, I know that torrent trackers, for instance, will have a centralized a server for that, but we're talking about paying once for a service and then having it distributed across a network. It seems like they should have been using some sort of coordinator in the cloud, so to speak, or that's, again, through blockchain for coordination. Exactly, Felipe. It's a tracker, and that's a good way to put that. And I actually kind of want to talk about that as well. So you kind of get the idea of how this works. You upload your files to the device then fragments your files, distributes them across the network, and their AI coordinator facilitates all of the distribution and recollection of all those files, right? Simple enough, kind of makes sense. So that kind of sums up. They talk about, accessibility and security and speed. I do like that because it's a peer-to-peer distributed network. You're not reliant on one server's bandwidth. You're relying on, dozens of people probably and little bits of their bandwidth to facilitate getting all of your files. And that's great. I actually dig that model. The problem that I originally had with it was getting it set up on my network. Let me jump over here. There we go. So the problem that I originally had was setting it up on my network because if you followed my channel for any time at all, you'll know that what we do on this channel is a lot of getting away from big corporations, whether it's self-hosting, Nextcloud, or some kind of a file sharing service, or blocking tracking cookies and things like that. We're trying to get away from a lot of the corporate stuff in regards to that. So in order to get my device to connect, like I plugged it in and it wouldn't connect. It just said, like I would click and it'd say couldn't connect. So I'd click and it'd say couldn't connect. So I did some research and found this page on their website that basically says if the desktop software can't find your cell during the claim procedure, make sure that everything's connected to the same network. No kidding. Okay, fine. Then it says close the Cubbit application, unplug the cell, replug the cell, power only, not Ethernet. Okay, I guess it needs to boot up first. An LED will flash on the top, and then it will stop flashing, the light will go out, Then after a couple more minutes, you can plug the Ethernet cable directly into the router. Do not use a switch or pass-through. So the issue that I have with that is that in order to connect to their server, I had to unplug it from my physical network, and I had to bypass all of my networking gear and plug my computer and the Cubbit device directly into my modem to bypass any kind of security. And what I found interesting about that is if I come up to here, let me actually jump over to here, and then go to here and there, and users, and then DB Tech, and then right here, there's this Cubbit folder. And I don't remember which one of these it is. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so here is this. Let me minimize some stuff here so we can kind of talk about what's going on. This is when I first plugged it in. It said, first it couldn't find this file. Okay, fine. So it eventually found it. So then it goes through all of these setup, this boot phase, and then right here, error, get address info, meaning it couldn't connect to Google Analytics, which I thought was really odd. Now, of course, I didn't notice this until much later. I went through this process for a couple of hours trying to get it to set up, to connect, to do those sorts of things. And then I find out that in order to connect, like once we finally do connect, like this is at 1:38. This one, of course, this was a couple of weeks ago. So 1:38 in the afternoon. Here we are when I finally gave up at 6 o'clock in the evening. And so you can see I was at it for about 4.5 hours, give or take. So if we come up to here, let's actually scroll all the way back up to the top here and then down just a little bit. Okay, so couldn't get a hold of Google Analytics, user controller sign in, API called completely. Sign in was successful. And then Analytics set invoked. So Analytics was invoked with a user ID of this. And then Analytics was invoked with a CD of free. So that was originally basically the payment plan I was on, because my node hadn't connected, my actual physical hardware hadn't connected to their network. I got 1 gig of free storage on their network, and that's what this CD1 is. So they've assigned a user ID into their analytics, and they've attached that user ID is on the free plan. So then we scroll down a little further, and we can see that it's dispatching a peer list. We're seeing that we get 1 gig, or maybe, so we get dispatch total storage used. So then we get dispatch user data. In the analytics, or in the logs here, there's my first name. Oops, right there. There's my last name. There's my email address, and there's what plan I'm on. And that's CD1. That's the free plan, because I haven't actually attached anything to the system yet. So here it's saying, hey, still can't connect to Google Analytics. And below that, it's saying, hey, this is where we've stored your Cubbit files. That's where your device would connect, like Dropbox would, or Google Drive, or whatever. That's going to be your Cubbit folder on my D drive. That's where I told it to be. That's fine. So then we keep scrolling, and we can see that it's creating this engine on this folder, and then it's initializing a new folder, and that's fine. But then, hey, I still can't connect to Google Analytics. And so, like, at this point, I'm starting to really wonder what's going on here. So we scroll down a little bit more. Now it's trying real hard to connect to Google Analytics. Here is an image that I uploaded to my 1 gig free plan. And it did its thing. It did the synchronization, handling the remote. Like, it did all of the stuff it was supposed to do. But oh wait, I still can't connect to Google Analytics. And here it's saying, okay, so again, we're saying, here is my user information with, I believe, a user ID that's associating my first name, my last name, and my email address with a Cubbit ID, Cubby ID, rather. So then we're detected a link, we're decrypting, pulling changes. So then now we're communicating possibly with other nodes. So we scroll down a little further, still can't connect to Google Analytics. The request for a peer timed out. So here it's trying to get a hold of the coordinator using a WebSocket, and it couldn't apparently because of my network security. Also, Francesco, thanks for joining us. No worries about being late. This is kind of an informal thing that we're doing this morning. So again, analytics set invoked with a user ID. So this is supposed to be an encrypted peer-to-peer anonymous network, but it bothers me that they've got all of these user IDs and they're in plain text. They're storing my name, my email address. They're deliberately trying to connect to Google Analytics repeatedly. These sorts of things. Here, we can see that here's again where I tried to connect my device to the network. It didn't go. Again, I'm still on the CD1 free consumer plan 1, but again, here's my email address. Here's my first and last name. So here again, it's trying to connect. Scroll down, still can't connect to Google Analytics. So if we just keep scrolling, again, can't connect to Google Analytics. So there is the Google Analytics, There is the IP address of the Cubbit device on my network. It finally got an IP address, but it's still something went wrong with the claim process, internal server error, probably because it couldn't connect to the socket. So again, here we can't connect to Google Analytics. Sync disabled. So we keep scrolling. Error, can't get Google Analytics. Again, here's all of my information. So let's scroll down quite a ways here. Oop, there we go. Nope, still can't connect. CD1 free. So basically, yeah. So see here, I've got a user ID and the plan that I'm on there. Still on the free or the 1 gig plan there. So basically, it spends all of this time. Here we go. Page view sent to analytics. Interesting. So I was finally able to get the system to connect to their server by then connecting it directly to my modem. I bypassed all of my network security, and then it was finally able to connect to their network. So page view is sent to analytics, and the problem that I have with that. Sorry, I'm looking for some other stuff here, but the problem that I have with that again. There we go. Finally, here's where I actually finally connected to their network. And you can see that now I'm on consumer plan 2, individual and owner, pulled with a Cubbit ID. Here you can see I moved it to a different folder, but it's still trying to connect to Google Analytics. So let's pause with that for a second. Sorry, I'm jump back up to right there. So they talk about how their network is peer-to-peer, it's encrypted, it's all of this stuff, and they talk about how, but if you look in the logs, you can see that they're attaching usernames, email, or not usernames, but user IDs, emails, names, Cubbit IDs. They're attaching all of these together in logs. So if somebody wanted to, they could get a hold of those logs, put all of that information together, and track all of your different file fragments all over the network. Now, they may not be able to open those file fragments because maybe they are encrypted with 256-bit encryption, but they're still able to take all of those files, all of those fragments, and piece them back together based on your user ID, your email address, all of this stuff, and that blows my mind. When I originally brought this up to them via email and I showed them these logs, they said that the Google Analytics was for the app only. It was so that they could monitor how the app was being used, and I get that. But in the email, the gentleman that I spoke with said that was a temporary solution until they're able to get first-party cookies, that'd be in-house cookies, set up in there so that they could track on their own systems. Now, 2 problems with that. One, they've been doing this since 2019. So they've had 2 years to come up with their own tracking solution, and they have yet to do that. They're still using Google Analytics, even though they've been in business for more than 2 years. They have not come up with any sort of in-house tracking. So that's a problem. If they're going to if they're going to do this and really want it to be peer-to-peer encrypted, anonymous, they should have done that very, very early in the process. Beyond that, they've been at this for 2 years. Why are they still using analytics in their app to see what people are doing? Now they say that it's an anonymous GA tracking cookie that they're using, but I have a hard time believing that because their logs have so much of my information in their user IDs, email addresses, my first and last name. All of this stuff is clear text in the logs. Why should I believe that they're using an anonymous GA tracking cookie? So that's a problem that I have. Like for all of this to be doing this, like Felipe just said here, if it's free, you're the product. Now, it's not free, right? These devices are not free. They're not cheap even. So if we come over to here, we click on Buy Now. So they sent me the 1 terabyte version. Sorry, that one. That's 349 euros. So let's see here. Let's copy this and let's do that to USD. So that's $412 that you're paying for this device, for this 1 terabyte of storage. Also, that is supposedly on sale. Normally, it's 589 euros. So what is that, like $700? Give or take? Yeah, about $700 for the device that they sent me with 1 terabyte of usable storage in there. And I say usable, well, I'll explain that here in just a little bit. So they talk about how this is a green solution. I don't know if I covered that so much. The technology, yeah, file redundancy, file distribution, network self-healing, environmental impact. There we go. So basically, they're saying that they're saving a ton. I say a ton. They're saving a bunch of CO2 carbon emissions or whatever. Theoretically, yes. And what I mean by that is, if you've got a data center full of storage servers and compute servers and things like that, and let's say you've got let's just say you've got 10 servers of each, and you're running 1,000 watts in each one of them. That you're running about 20,000 watts worth of power. Let's say just in these 2 stacks in this data center. Okay, fine. 20,000 watts worth of power to facilitate all of this. These Cubbit devices have a 24 watt power supply. It's 12 volts and 2 amps. So if you've got 1,000 users out there using 24 watts, that's 24,000 watts. So if you've got 10,000 users, extrapolate it. It's even more. The more users you've got using 24 watts, okay, maybe one data center isn't using tens of thousands of watts, but across your network, you're still using, give or take, the same amount of power. And sure, some of that power may be hydro, some of it may be coal, some of it may be wind, but they can't honestly tell me that they know exactly how much power they're saving because they don't know where their users are getting their power. If they could guarantee that all of their users got all of their power from either hydro or wind, fine. But where I live, we still have a coal power plant. Now, I know they're getting away with it or getting away from it in the next few years, but we still have a coal power plant here in Colorado. So I know the energy that I'm using isn't as clean as it could be. So for them to say, oops, and I've been yakking over here without actually showing my desktop. There we go. So here they're saying, that they're saving all of these emissions and things like that. They don't have any way to actually quantify that. I know that the power I'm using isn't as clean as it could be. Yours may be wind or water, mine isn't. So they can't tell me that how many kilograms or whatever that they're saving of hydro or of carbon emissions. I don't know why they think that marketing this is a good idea when they can't quantify it. They just can't. They might be able to say, well, we're saving this much on our end by only needing a few servers to facilitate all of this. But across the entire network, that's not the case at all. Also, if you've got a limited or a data cap on your internet provider, a lot of people get like a 1 terabyte cap here in the United States. This device could kill that very quickly. You're sharing up to a terabyte of your hard drive with other users on the network who are going to be constantly sending and receiving files across your network. So they don't talk about how they could their service could easily make you hit your data cap and cost you more money because you've gone over your data cap. They don't talk about those things in anywhere on their website that I've seen. They don't talk about the amount of data that their service may use on your network, and that bothers me as well. So they don't talk about the data. They don't talk about the actual power usage. Their end-to-end encryption only sort of makes sense until you bring in their dedicated servers that everything has to run through. We've got Google Analytics in there. They actually use another service called FreeGeoIP that is wrong. It's a free service. When I looked at my IP address on their service, it was 600 miles off. It had me in Kansas as opposed to Colorado, which I guess if you're just trying to target a general, are they in the Northwest, the Southwest, Midwest, whatever, fine. Maybe that's all they're going for. But they're also sharing our data with that service in order to geolocate where we are. So that's another third-party service that could be attacked or taken down or whatever, which may cause your Cubbit to stop working. So, anybody have any thoughts, questions, ideas? I know I've been rambling here for a while. Anybody have any thoughts, questions, whatever that we can kind of talk about real quick? Okay, so nothing yet. There we go. Nope, nothing. All right, thanks, Minecraft. Appreciate it. So let's jump over to my desk. This is actually my desk right here. And sorry, I'm going to try to move this over to here. So, like I said, this is the Cubbit device. And it's... There we go. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out where I am in the frame. There we go. Okay, so this is the Cubbit device. On this side, like I mentioned earlier, we've got a network port and a USB 3 port. On this side, we have a power port. And that is, oops, there we go. And that is it. Those are the 3 ports we get. There's literally nothing on the back. And you'll see that this is kind of a big, chunky thing. Like it is roughly the same size as my hand, all spread out here. So what I want to do, the unboxing experience, let's talk about that real quick. The unboxing experience was the Cubbit device, power supply. Again, this is 12 volts at 2 amps for 24 watts, and then a Cat 5e. You won't be able to really see it here, but it is Cat 5e, and that's fine. So let's flip it over. I've already taken these 2 feet off because those are always a pain to get off. And so let's take it apart because we can. So let's keep in mind that they could charge upwards of $700 for this unit. So we've got just 2 screws here, which I'm thankful for. There we go. And that just pops off. So in here, we've got just a little cable, SATA power and data cable there that plugs into the board. And then, of course, down in here into the hard drive. Right, I agreed, Felipe. Like, I get it, but the file location thing, yeah. I want to say to their credit that maybe it is just to find nodes close to you, but still not a big fan of that. Yeah, basically it seems like there's nothing encrypted on their servers, at least on the logs. So as a side note, I recently, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll know that let me move this a little bit. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that Synology reached out a while back and sent me one of their devices. And I ran into issues. I actually had a hard drive die on me. It's taken a while, but they've got a new one on the way. And I'm just going to set this aside for a moment. So in order for them to be able to actually decide whether or not there was a problem with the hard drive, I had to send logs to them from my Synology device, and they were all encrypted. Like I tried to open them on, or just like with Notepad++ or something like that, and it was all just a jumbled mess of characters that couldn't be read. So that's how how these guys should be handling their logs. They should be encrypted in such a way that only their internal servers can open them for the sake of troubleshooting. Beyond that, they shouldn't be accessed at all. So here we go. So this is just a heat shield or a heat dissipation plate. You can see that they used. Hopefully, you can see that. There we go. So you can see that they used some thermal paste on there. For the price of the device, they should have used thermal pads. This thermal paste will dry out, harden, and become absolutely useless in the next couple of years. So for them to use thermal paste, I think is a cheap way to do that. They should have used thermal pads. You can buy them in bulk, very, very cheap. So below that, we've got this hard drive right here. Let's pull this cable off. So we've got this hard drive. It's a Western Digital. It's a 2 terabyte drive. Now keep in mind, I mentioned that they had sent, or that I'm on a 1 terabyte program, and that's true, because 1 terabyte of this is for me, and 1 terabyte of that is for everyone else to store their little fragments of data on as well. So that's that. Now I guess I should back up just for a minute here. Like this. Goes like that roughly, and then this kind of goes like that. This shape, this big hexagonal shape, is unnecessary, I guess is the only way I can put it. They wanted something unique and whatnot, but because of the way it's shaped, this will never fit on a rack. This will never fit on a shelf next to a hard drive very well because your points are on the sides. It's just a mess. They've got all of this over here, and they've got some holes in the bottom, you know, to let air through, I guess, but it's all on the bottom. Heat rises. Heat doesn't come out the bottom. Heat rises. So this is a dumb design in my opinion. Also, having all of this open space in here, they could have saved themselves a ton of money by making this smaller, more compact. Also, I don't remember if it was on this one. Yeah. Also, just some real cheap manufacturing here. You can see that's a rough edge. These edges are all sharp. Overall, just not impressed with the overall build quality of these devices. So while I was going through all of this, I was just kind of looking around on here, and I noticed, you know, like there's all of these empty. Oops, sorry. Let me get back under the camera there. There's an empty space here and here and here, and these. I feel like there should be something going on here, and there's obviously something missing here. It looks like, oh, there's something missing right here as well. Over on this side, if we flip it over, here you can see that that's where the thermal paste is. There's an SD card or micro SD card slot missing there, and then of course you can see there's all this silk screening all over it that I finally did some investigating on, and finally right here, I know that's going to be super hard to read, but basically what it says is Espresso Bin V7 2-1. Yeah, Felipe, I know it's supposed to represent a hive, but it was a crap way to do it. So like I said, this is an espressive board, and of course I lost it again. Luckily, oh, there it is. Version 7 2-1 right here. So let's actually jump back over to my desktop for a moment, and let's take a look to right there. Right here, I found Espressive's website, and if we scroll down and we compare this image, anyway, let's actually fill up the screen there a little bit. There we go. And then, you know what, let's try. I apologize for doing this in the middle of a stream here, but let's bring this over like so. Bring this over, and then let's add video capture device. I think maybe it's that one. Oh, nope, I lied. It's not that one. Let's do Add. Sorry, give me 1 second here. This one. That. Oops. Let's bring this over to here. Good enough for who it's for what I'm doing here. Okay, so if you there we go. If you compare these boards, they're very, let me spin this around like this. So here you can see, hopefully, let me find, there it is. So there's one of our network ports right there. We've got our USB port. Should have two more network ports here, as you can see. Sorry, I'm really having a hard time here. There we go. Right here, USB port, network port, network port, network port, USB port. That should be all right here. So they've actually taken an existing board and have taken a bunch of stuff off of it to make their product. So let's do that. Maybe. Oops, no, that was right. There we go. So what they have done is they've taken this board right here. Let's move that back around like so. There we go. So they've taken this board, this mini PCI. Sorry, I'm reading that. This Espresso bin version 7 board, and they've just dumbed it down. They've taken off the JTAG. They've taken off this rail here. They've taken off the USB. They've taken off this. They've taken off this SD RAM. That was also something that was missing there. On the bottom, like we talked about, they removed this. They've really dumbed it down, and have loaded their own version of an operating system on it, which is fine, I guess. But here's the deal: if I wanted to order this board, in fact, you know what? Let me jump over to here. I've actually got it open in a window down here. Excuse me. And then let's go to my sent folder. So and then not that one, that one. All right, so let's bring this email up to here. Because after I sent all of this information to them, they then responded. Another one of their agents responded and was like, hey, we'd like you to review one of our samples. So that tells me their left and right hands don't know what the other one is doing. So, okay, so I've already got this. Here we go. His response earlier was they're using an anonymous statistic. Like I mentioned, this was supposed to be a temporary solution. And it's been 2 years, and they're still using it after 2 years. Right, lots of wasted space, like I talked about. More wasted space. Let's see. Yeah, so this is all kind of what we've just talked about, how this is the board that I had in my hand. This is the board that I found online, the Espresso version 7 2-1. So this is all of the stuff that they removed from the original board. And then I did some research, and the Espresso bin V7, right here, you can get a 1 gig version of this for $69. But I think what they've done is they've gone this route. So one gig of DDR4 with 4 gigs of onboard storage. I think that's maybe what they did there. So let's call that $79 for the product, for this board. And then they've got this Western Digital 2 terabyte drive. That's about the closest I could find to what I had in my unit. Almost exactly the same thing. So that's another $70. So we're in let's say 70 and 80 is $150. And then this data cable is close enough. The one in the box has a right angle cable on this end over here for where it connects to the hard drive, but basically the same cable. So let's call it $6. So $1.50 a cable. So we're up to $151.50, give or take, for all of the hardware in here. So they're charging $400 on sale. So that's a $250 markup just on hardware. Now, of course, I understand that they've got their people in the office who wrote the software, and they've got their back end expenses and things like that. But selling hardware shouldn't be their business model, and that's what it is. I'm sure that they're selling statistical data. I'm sure that they're selling our data as far as what we're doing on the device to build something better later, or they're selling that data to other people. This is all speculation, right? Let's keep that in mind. But they, so we've got $150 worth of hardware here, $400. So again, $250 markup on that. If they were to charge, let's say 750, let's say they charge $250 for the device and like a $5 a month subscription fee, that would make sense to me. But to charge this much money for a single piece of hardware that you have to, in order to get it to connect to their network, you can't have any network security. And then you have to be okay with them collecting all of your data and passing along your name, your email address, user IDs, plans, all of this kind of stuff in clear text. It isn't really doing it for me. There's so many things wrong with this product that originally when I heard about this product, I was excited. I really wanted to make a review of it and show how cool it was, because I think it's a very cool idea. I just think that Cubbit has failed miserably in their execution. They've been at this for years now. They did their Kickstarters, their Indiegogos, their GoFundMes, whatever. They raised millions of dollars. They've also got millions of dollars in investor money riding on this as well. And their business model is to sell overpriced hardware. You could literally go online and buy all of the hardware you need for $150, throw your own version of Ubuntu on it, and have your own little NAS device. Now, of course, you wouldn't have, the distributed network aspect of things, but if they're tracking all of this information, do you really want all of that information spread across the internet the way they're doing it? So that's just kind of where I am with this. I really wanted to get all of this off my chest and make sure that people understood that while Cubbit is a cool concept, I think the execution, the way Cubbit has done it, needs a lot of work before they do anything else. I really feel like they need to stop what they're doing and start over as far as how they're handling logs, how they're handling their coordinator, their main dedicated server, probably cluster. I can't imagine it's one server, but their server cluster that facilitates the AI coordinator. Let me just jump back over to here. Sorry. So they've got their dedicated server cluster for the AI coordinator that does the job of distributing all of the fragments, that sort of thing. I really feel like this should be a subscription model, not a hardware model. I feel like they're going to fail miserably, and when this service dies here in a couple of years, you're going to have more e-waste that needs to go to be recycled because the service won't connect, because their AI coordinator won't be in place, because they don't have the money to run the server cluster. Again, I feel like if they were to charge a monthly subscription fee of like $5 for 4 terabytes or whatever of hard drive online storage that's accessible from anywhere, isn't a terrible idea. But again, they've got all of these issues with the way they're encrypting data, the way they're passing it around, the way they're not encrypting data. It's just a mess. So that's kind of where I am with this. I would love to know your guys' opinion. I've seen a few people. Felipe had some stuff that he jumped in there with. If anybody else has any thoughts, questions, ideas, things they'd like to know about what I've taken apart here, what I've looked at, I'm all ears, eyes. Would love to chat with you. I do have to get off here in about 15 minutes, roughly. Maybe not. Sorry. Originally, when I was looking at this, it only gave me an hour, but now I've got an hour and a half. So I've still got some time. So if you guys have got questions, I'd love to chat about that, answer any questions I can, discuss any of the thoughts and concerns you guys might have, anything like that. Let me know in the little chat area over there. Also, while we're waiting for that, I just want to take a couple of minutes to let you guys know that I do have a Discord. If you guys are interested in Discord, I know that 1619 OTA, he's a regular in our Discord. Hey, Newt. Hey, Newt. How are you, man? In fact, speaking of Discord, Newt actually helped me. In fact, did most of the work getting the Discord set up. Weird. But yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord, that would be very cool. I'll throw a link up to that. Let's do DB. Sorry, I don't even have my own link in front of me. I got to Google it. But if you ever Google DB Tech or DB Tech reviews, there should be a link there that has that in there. Alternatives. Good question, Felipe. As far as alternatives that do what this does, no. As far as alternatives, they're a good, solid option to have a network attached storage device on your network that just works out of the box. Amber X, they are not paying me for this. They're not asking me to promote this. I was one of the few to get my hands on one of these originally. Got to make some content, got to test it out, troubleshoot it, and give them some feedback on some stuff. The Amber X is a very cool device that also was just on Indiegogo. They did very well on there. There's some other people on here who have also managed to purchase an Amber X device and have had a chance to use it. So that's definitely one option. If you want something, if you really want something that isn't tied to anybody, you can make your own. In fact, I'm currently working on an idea of setting up how to set up just a NAS device. It's kind of a project for the channel. It shouldn't take very long to do, but it's something I'm working on. But yeah, no, definitely, I really do dig the Amber devices. Of course, if you wanted to get, like a Synology device or a TerraMaster or there are lots of different NAS devices out there that do have remote capabilities, remote file sharing, remote access, without doing a lot of setup. That is one of the issues that people have with a self-hosted solution, is that if you get yourself a little x86 single board computer like a Latte Panda or any of the mini PCs or the NUCs or any of that. Even if you get, a powerful one that's got all of the hardware you could need, you're still going to have to do a lot of port forwarding from your modem to from your modem to your router to your server. You're probably going to need some sort of a reverse proxy on your network. So there's more setup involved in doing it yourself than there is using something like I said, an Amber device. They've actually got the Amber X that I was recently given the opportunity to check out. They've also got this beast. This is the Amber Pro. This is a very cool device as well. But it basically, the difference between them is, sorry kids back there, this one has 512 gigs of hard drive space. The Pro actually has 2 terabytes in it, but they're done in a RAID 0. So you've got automatic redundancy in-house on your own device. But you've still got remote access to it. You can share files with it, that sort of thing. Hey, Newt, thanks so much for checking it out. I do appreciate that. Yeah, Felipe, you could do that. You definitely could set up your own in-house thing. In fact, I kind of did something similar to that. You could you could set up your own, like I said, single board computer, whether it's a Latte Panda, a NUC, a Raspberry Pi, whatever, and then you could attach your hard drives to it, get that all set up with Linux or OpenMedia Vault or Ubuntu, whatever, and then you could use something like rclone to back it up to something like Google Drive. Or if you had your own like AWS cloud storage, there are lots of options where you could do that. Of course, the problem with that is that we're trying, a lot of times, in many cases, trying to stay away from using big cloud providers like Dropbox and Google Drive and a lot of those. So what you might want to do is, if you've got a friend that also has a good internet connection, maybe you build four of these boxes, and you have 2 at your house and 2 at your friend's house, and one of them at your house and one of them at his house is for your stuff, and vice versa. One at his house is for his stuff and one at your house is for his stuff. And they just sync back and forth. So you kind of build your own little cluster of file sharing nodes. I think that would be kind of a cool way to do that as well. Of course, you both want to make sure that you've got good upload speeds. Download speeds are great. But if you've only got like a 5 meg upload, that's going to suck. It's going to throttle your entire internet connection, and it's not going to be good. But I think that using, like I said, like a total of 4 single board computers with some attached hard drives, and I think rsync, remember it's rsync or rclone. I need to investigate both of those, but I think that would be a good way to have offsite backups that don't involve the cloud. I'm pretty sure that you can do encryption with those, so lots of options there that I definitely want to look into as far as that's concerned. So yeah, I think that hopefully that answers your question. That's definitely something that I want to look into as far as how to kind of have some redundant backups. So if you've got other questions, I'm all ears again here. Let's see. Let's see. Nope, nothing there. Let's see if anybody said anything over here. Sorry, just kind of looking through my Discord as well. Looks like we've had some new people join. That's very cool. Thanks for joining the Discord. Looks like a couple of people this morning have joined. Again, there's that Discord link if you want to join Discord and hang out over there. Oh yeah, Felipe, you'll be good there. It's interesting you said that that's the norm. It's not here in the States from my experience. For the last 10 years, I had a 200 meg. It started at like a 50 meg, and then Comcast upgraded and upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. So I went from like a 50 meg connection to like a 400 meg connection down, but I always only had 12 megs up. And it killed me. Like it just was infuriating. Luckily, I guess I recently had an issue with my Comcast service. Finally got a hold of somebody who knew what they were doing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can cut your bill, double your download speed, and triple your upload speed, and again save you money." So now I've got a gig down theoretically, and about 45 megs up. But because I've got my Unify USG Pro 4 as my router, and I've got intrusion prevention. I've got the intrusion prevention system enabled. It limits my download speeds to like 300 megs, which kind of sucks. But I don't need a gig down. I don't. What I needed was more upload speed. So luckily, the IPS, the prevention or the intrusion prevention, didn't affect my upload speeds. They just throttled my download speeds, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But 100, I would love to have 100 up. That would be amazing. But right now, I've got like 45, and that sucks. Let's see. Toter joined over there on Discord. So yeah. Let's see what else. Any ideas? Anything you guys would like me to talk about regarding Docker or Portainer or self-hosting? Any of that kind of stuff we could talk about before I get off of here? Also, do me a favor, guys. It really would help me out quite a bit if you give the video a thumbs up. That really does actually help after the fact with these videos, especially with live streams. Live streams are kind of a one and done kind of deal, but I know that every once in a while I have somebody come back and watch a live stream and leave a comment on it. So if you guys would do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up, would really help me out quite a bit there. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that kind of covers everything that I really wanted to talk about. Like, again, I think Cubbit had a good idea. I think their overall business plan is wrong. Look, I'm not a business guy. I run a YouTube channel. I've owned my own business in the past. I used to build websites, where I was my own employee. I paid state and federal taxes. I did all of that. But I had a different business model. I built websites. I didn't facilitate hardware. But for them to, there's just so many things about the product that I think they should have done differently. Like as far as if you're going to use off-the-shelf hardware, that's fine, but to inflate the price 300% to cover your costs for software, I can't get behind that. It should have been cheap hardware with a subscription model of like $5 a month. Damn, Blazanova, that's crazy. I pay half again what you're paying, and I got so much less than that. That's frustrating. Anyway, that's a capitalist society for you when it comes to services like the internet. But I think they should have done a subscription model. Their hardware should cost less. But and again, I feel like this service is going to be out of business in 5 years, or they're not going to have enough users in the next 5 years to keep their business afloat, unless they charge a business or a subscription model for the service. And at that point, when that happens, when everybody bails because they can't keep their orchestrator, their whatever they called it, their wasn't an orchestrator, but it is their coordinator. Once they can't afford their coordinator, this just becomes e-waste. And now again, luckily you can if you got a little technical know-how, you could flash your own OS onto the board and use it however you want, which I've actually thought about possibly making a video about, as far as reflashing, taking Cubbit's software off of here and throwing like an Ubuntu 16.04 on here and just turning it into a NAS device that way. So if you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments below. Either in the chat or the comments, whatever. If you'd like to see me at least attempt to flash Ubuntu on this and make it actually usable. So I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know that this was sort of impromptu. This is still very new for me. This is only like the third live stream I think I've ever done, and I want to do more of these. So for the 45 of you that are still here, thank you. I really do appreciate you guys being here, hanging out for the last hour or so, and checking out what I had to say, hearing my thoughts on this. I would love to get your thoughts, whether you're watching this now or watching it later. If you wanted to throw your thoughts in the chat, the comments, whatever, that would be amazing. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on all of this. I think I'm going to keep doing these. We'll just kind of hang out and chat on the weekends. Maybe Sunday mornings like this will just become a live stream day. We'll hang out rather than actually releasing a video and whatnot. We'll just hang out. We'll do a live stream. We'll talk about new tech that I've got, or we'll talk about Docker stuff or Portainer stuff or whatever. I think maybe Sundays will just be a streaming day. Of course, I say that next Sunday, of course, I believe is Easter, so we won't be streaming next Sunday. No content next Sunday. But after that, I think we'll start doing some live streaming Sunday mornings and just hang out. Have some coffee or whatever you're drinking throughout the day. I know somebody earlier mentioned that they were in Kuwait, which is several hours ahead of me. So they're mid-afternoon right now. So Sundays, if you guys want to hang out and just talk tech and chat, that sort of thing, that would be amazing. Definitely get subscribed if you want to do that, and we will just kind of plan on that moving forward. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and get some other stuff done around the house. But thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me today. Really do appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, but I'll talk to you guys here real soon.